I just got a new tattoo, so I can't really do anything too active for a couple of days, so I decided to just do a quick 1-year review on this boosted board. It's a first generation, and yeah, and then also show you guys my favorite trail. I'll start by saying I absolutely love it. A year in, I use it at least 5 days a week to run to either like the grocery store, post office, to the park every morning or two with my dog, and yeah, pretty often. I had to send it back once for repair, which I'll show you what was broken in a little bit. But other than that, I have no complaints. I travel with it pretty often and had no issues. I usually have to check it. You can't bring it on the plane with you, but if you just check it, either in the box that they ship it in, or I bought a board bag from, I think it's like boardbag.co. I'd say the battery life after about a year is still pretty good. It has the 2 motors, which I need to climb hills like this, for instance. I don't know if it's possible to tell, but this is a pretty steep grade. It would probably only climb it at about 12 miles per hour instead of the top speed of 22. Pretty much it will faithfully climb any hill that I've ever found, and so I'll give it a big plus for that. It does only get about 4.5 miles if you use it in the highest mode. And then the one thing I really like about this board, probably my favorite feature of all, is having brakes on a boosted board, because I live in a more hilly area, and so you can quickly get out of control, and being able to go down this hill that I'm about to show you guys without having to get off is a huge bonus. So yeah, basically having brakes on any electric board, and ones that work this well and in fact recharge the battery while doing it, is a great plus, because I've been able to get a lot more mileage because of the regen braking that this boosted board has. And right up here is where my favorite trail starts. I was just leaving my neighborhood on the way there, and I'm not sure if you can tell how steep that hill is, but it's definitely pretty steep. Just a couple of months ago, that was a raging river, and now it's nothing. That's how quickly it dries up in Utah. You couldn't hear me before. It's called I think it's called the Big Cottonwood Trail. It goes to the base of Big Cottonwood Canyon, and it does kind of cut through neighborhoods and whatnot. But it's, you have a skateboard or you just went out for a stroll. This is the trail to be on. And this is my spot. I usually sit right here, and we're getting the sun right as it crests over the mountains out there. Alright, so I'm losing sunlight because I just finished flying the drone, so I'll try to keep this short and sweet. This particular boosted board is the Dual Plus, so it has 2 motors. It climbs hills extremely well, but the only problem is it also uses a lot of battery to do that. So just to get here so far, come on, I've gone 2.8 miles. Let's check the battery of the boosted board now. There you go. But for each light, there's 5 lights. This lowest one, when you hit the button check, is solid, which means it's got 20% left. If that were blinking, you only have 10%. The good news is though, most of this ride is downhill, so it used almost all of the battery. It used 80% of the battery to go only 3 miles. It claims to go 4.5 for this first generation. Sorry for the noise. It claims to go 4.5 miles, so I should have at least 1.5 miles left, but I know because I have a lot of downhill, it's going to recharge the battery a bit. So I usually have no problem getting back home and getting the full range, the 4.5 at least. If you put it down to, I think, 1 or 2 and stay on a pretty low grade, so you have different settings. There's 4. You put it on the second one, which only goes about 16 miles per hour, and it doesn't climb the hills that I need. You can go a little bit further. I think you can go up to 7 miles with the first generation boosted board, but the problem with that is I need the extra motors and the extra power for climbing hills around my neighborhood. So I know the second generation one is supposed to go further. I think a max range of 12 miles per hour and interchangeable batteries. So if they've worked out some of the other problems they've had, I would recommend getting that one for sure. I still love this first generation. But the battery life could improve, and I feel like that's really my biggest gripe, would just be the battery life is really short. The thing I will give them credit for is, even though they don't claim this one is waterproof, I've been through many puddles and had no issues. The belt started to come off on one of these, and so all I had to do was send it back to them and they replaced that, no problem. So I guess my overall thoughts are, if you're going to get an electric skateboard for just purely pleasure, I probably wouldn't spend the money to get this boosted board and get something a little bit cheaper, because some of them are cheaper and actually have a longer range. I kind of tell everyone when I run into them, my biggest thing would be, if you're buying it for your kid, don't do that. It's not worth it. But if you're someone who lives in a city or an area that you can get to a 5 to 7 mile range before needing to charge it, like going to school or something like that, I would highly recommend the boosted board. You can even get the I think the single motor one for like $1,000 if you don't need as much power for climbing hills. I think that would be completely sufficient for just going around town or something like that. If you live in a hillier area, I would definitely recommend the Dual Plus. It can climb pretty much any hill I have ever encountered. And so for the price, I think it's good. I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5 stars, just because if I'm going to spend $1,500, I would like to get a little bit more battery life out of it, and an interchangeable battery would also be ideal. So I know they fixed a lot of that on the second generation, so again, I haven't tried that one, but if you are looking for one, I would definitely tell you to get this second generation one, and I think it's also waterproof, so all pluses. I should mention though that when climbing hills that steep or going down hills this steep, you do get a lot of looks, because people get confused on how the heck you're doing that on a longboard and not like falling off. So just expect some looks, and sometimes people will either yell or honk and just, I don't know, give you a thumbs up or something. So it's fun. watch the vlogs or something. Kitty and like 11 of you guys watching, so. Alright, so overall, as you can see, that whole ride took me 5.3 miles, and I had somewhere between 10% and no battery left. For being pretty hilly, that's pretty good, and for the fact that I owned the board for a year now, you're probably going to lose some battery life, so again, not the worst. So if you're looking for a reliable electric skateboard, I would definitely recommend looking into Boosted Board brand. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask me in the comments, and catch you guys next week. Peace.